What is up, YouTube? It is your boy ThunderBuddy29 here, back today with another video. And today, as we are now on the final days of Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 2, today I kind of just want to make a video, kind of give my final thoughts, talk about the season a little bit, like the pros and the cons, and just answer the question, was this season good or bad? So today in this video, we are going to answer that question. But before I do, I just want to say, I hope you enjoy the videos that you see here on the channel. And if you do enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share this with your friends, and hit that little bell so you never miss another video. And join the channel today for as low as $2 a month. It does not just help me out, it helps out the channel, and it helps keep the amazing content going. Join today, link in the description below. But anyways, we got some stuff to get into in this video. So without further ado, let's begin, shall we? Alright folks, so I think the first thing I should talk about is the same thing I talked about in my very first video of this season, and that is the map. Alright, I'm going to try to keep this segment short because most of my opinions about the map are still pretty much the same. These map changes weren't just insane, they were huge. And this is probably my favorite part about the season. And no, they didn't just add like one tree or a couple balloons. No, they changed an entire section of the map. I mean, let's just look at a photo of the map from the previous season. We went from that to this. It can't be denied how insane the changes were. The locations were nice as well. They were like a futuristic Japanese style map. Now, I like these locations, but one thing I will say about them, it was very hard to enjoy in the first week because how much of a massive sweat show it was if you landed at any of these locations, which I kind of understand why. And Mega City was a nice upgrade of Tilted Towers, but the one thing I didn't like about it is how half of the buildings were empty. Which I kind of understand because if they were completely full, you would need multiple daily bugles then. But other than that, the map changes were great, and it was probably the best part of the season. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, segment 2, is the updates. Now, I will say this, it was almost going down the same path as Chapter 4 Season 1, which was the last season. But in the middle of the season, it had gotten absolutely insane. And Fortnite was actually getting their act together. You had Creative 2.0 come out, which was promised several months prior. At least Epic kept their promise, unlike Blizzard. And let me tell you, these changes were absolutely insane, like from the graphics, the more options you had to choose from, and so on. To this day, I still continue to debate if this was the number one thing that had saved Fortnite, because on the same month of Creative 2.0's release, Fortnite's player count had actually gone up for the first time in 2 years, where they actually gained more players than lost players. And then you had the Star Wars event that happened in early May, as it does every single year. And I can just say this right off the bat, I actually thought it was a decent event. It was definitely way better than last year's. And the lightsabers too, even though they had like abilities and stuff, they were not as annoying. And the best part is, to get a lightsaber with the abilities, you had to go to like a special location in the map and get trained. I actually thought that was good. Now, the one thing I will say about the updates that I didn't like was near the end of the season, where they started to get a little strange again. Like they did during the final week of last season when they removed the heavy sniper, the slurp juice, and so on. But those items were brought back when the season started. But near the end of the season, a similar thing had happened again when they decided to remove the Trios game mode without any explanation why. But then during the final week of the season, they had brought it back in again, once again without any explanation. It's just one of those moments where Fortnite can be strange. But other than that, I actually thought many of these updates were actually decent, and I'm glad that they didn't almost go down the same route as the previous season. Moving on to segment 3, the items. Now, I will say this about the loophole, it's not as exciting as I had thought originally, but the loophole is balanced and decent for what it was. The shotguns, in my opinion, I still think they're weak, but I do have to say, they're definitely not as weak compared to other seasons. I mean, the best way to describe the shotguns is they're not underpowered or overpowered. And that's pretty much the best way to describe most of this loophole. especially the SMGs. I mean, just thinking about 1 year ago, how broken and overpowered the SMGs were, and looking at today, they're not as bad as they were back then. They're not overpowered or underpowered, which is what it should be. The Twin Mag SMG was decent, not overpowered or underpowered, and when they brought back the SMG from Chapter 1, it was the same thing. Now, the ARs have always been decent. I've never had a problem with the ARs. And you had decent sniping gameplay with the Heavy Sniper and Cobra DMR. I actually like those snipers. But here's a couple things I did not like about this loophole. And number one, the Attack on Titan mythics. And this is one reason why I don't like collabs being in a Battle Pass. It's because you have to deal with their mythics for a whole entire season. Kind of like last season when you had My Hero Academia. You had the Deku Smash mythic, and that was pretty fucking annoying. And the Attack on Titan mythics were annoying too, but for different reasons. It wasn't overpowered, it was just annoying. And the only reason why they stayed in the whole entire season was because one of its skins was in the Battle Pass. And you had the Kinetic Blade, which I thought was overpowered, but I actually found it more annoying than overpowered because people just mainly used it to run away. But it did get vaulted in the middle of the season because people were doing glitches with it. And Epic did threaten people with bans if they did these glitches. So instead they decided to vault it, which honestly I understand why they did. But instead they replaced it with the Spider-Man Mythic for the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie. Now I will say I don't really care much about the collab, but I will say when they brought back the web shooters, I was very glad that they did not make the same mistake that they did in Chapter 3 Season 1, where you had 60 of them all over the map. They did not do that this time. And the next thing I'm going to talk about, this should technically be in the update category, but I don't really care because it still counts as items. During the final weeks of the season, around the same time when they removed trios, they nerfed the damage of the grenades and the heavy sniper on builds. Now, I thought those two things were absolutely stupid. Now, I didn't really care much about the heavy sniper one because it was only affected on builds, and I don't really play builds as much, but we all can definitely agree that the nerfing of the grenades was absolutely stupid because that's something that no one ever complained about, even since day one, back in Chapter 1 of Season 0. No one cared much about the grenades. They were fine for what they were, and now they're just weak as hell, and that's why no one uses them anymore. And that just once again proves my point that Fortnite can be strange sometimes, especially at the end of a season. But other than those, this loophole was actually pretty decent. It was balanced, but like I said, it wasn't as exciting as I had thought. But in the end, still not bad. And my final thoughts of the season, I have to say it definitely had a lot of ups and downs, but I have to say the game definitely continued to improve. And it continued to get better. Fortnite was actually getting their act together. They were actually focusing on issues that mattered and appealed to the player base. And they were trying not to repeat the same mistakes that they had made in the past. The third partying this season was absolutely fucking atrocious. But that's something we say about every other season. And once again, like I say, there's nothing Epic can do about that. And for my final rating of this season, I think it's a high B tier season. And I definitely think it deserves a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. Great job, Epic Games. Well done. For next season, I hope they do not repeat the same mistake that they did in Chapter 3 Season 3 last year. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. What do you guys think of this season? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you to all the amazing channel members listed on screen here. If you guys enjoyed or agree with this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share this with your friends, and hit the bell for notifications so you'll never miss another video. Follow me on Twitter. I apologize for the delay, but I love you guys. I appreciate all the support you've been giving me, as we are now closing in on 6,020 subscribers. I love you all to death. Thank you all for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe for more. And until next time, I will see you all in the next video. And this is ThunderBuddy29, sign off.